Hello, LinkedIn, and hello, Daniel. How are you doing?
Fantastic, Zev. Good morning to you, and good morning to all of our friends out there on LinkedIn. Man, really glad to have you back, brother.
Guys, this has been probably a pretty few 3 weeks since we did a live. I was on an amazing vacation in Italy, but I'm super glad to come back. Super glad to do a live right as I come back. Let's let everybody come into this live. We have a guest on this live. He's running a little bit late, but don't you worry. Daniel and I will keep you very entertained till he comes in. Daniel, how was the time when I was gone?
The time was man, a little lonely. Gotta say, we missed you, but we've got a great team, and we're just pumping and grinding per usual. And one of our chief of staff, she stepped up, just absolutely amazing. So you were missed, but not too much.
To the Wexler team, to the Viacry team, thank you so much. Like Jesus, I got disconnected for 3 weeks. I barely thought about work, and you guys killed it. And just to show how much the team has killed it, we actually have a surprise for everybody. We just launched our new website, and we launched it while I was on vacation. So if that's not a good sign of what an awesome team we have, I don't know what is. And without further ado, let me share our new and exciting website with you guys. Ba-ba-ba-bum.
Oh yeah, there we go.
So, everybody that's watching us, and as everybody comes in, and as hopefully Paul will come and join us in a couple of minutes, please go to wexlermarketing.com and tell us what you think about our new site. Wexler team, thank you guys. Number one, thank you for Monica, our ruler, our queen. You made this all happen. All the design team, Hamad, Numan, Anel, of course, Gianna, Max, Daniel, you, Ian, everybody, June that actually built this thing, everybody that had anything to do with it, thank you. This is amazing. I used to joke that the shoemaker walks barefoot because we were always so busy in creating amazing sites for other companies. And our site, I never felt that we put enough heart into it. And this is probably one of the first times in years where I truly feel like our site is amazing. So, everybody that had a hand in it, thank you. It's amazing. All the team, thank you. You guys have done that while I was on vacation, which makes it even more amazing. And everybody watching us, please take a look at our new site. Let us know what you think. Okay. We approach marketing with three things in mind: strategy, growth, and impact. Okay. If it's not inside those, we don't want to touch it. And we have helped so many companies using SEO, AI, social media. And we want everybody to take a look at the new site and tell us what you guys think. And again, the Wexler team, amazing work. And thank you for being so amazing. This is great. Everybody, please check out our site. There's a lot to check out, and let us know what you think. And if there's things that we can improve, let us know as well. We're not shy. We can always get better. But I'm so proud of our new site, and I'm so proud of our new team. So again, Team Wexler, thank you guys. You guys are rock star. You make us look so freaking good. So thank you so
And that's
much.
a really good point, Zev. I think yeah, anybody watching this, check out the website. Undoubtedly, us and our entire team, we're still in the honeymoon phase with our website and absolutely loving it. And so fresh pairs of eyes, anything, what you like about it, what you'd like to see more of, or any areas of improvement, we're not shy. Our feelings don't get hurt easily. And we really appreciate that from all of you out there on LinkedIn.
Awesome. And this is a great timing because I think Paul is about to join us as we speak. So let's remove our gorgeous site and let's bring on our awesome guest for today. Give me 1 second, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, it works.
Hello, Paul. How
Hey,
are you, sir?
Paul.
Everybody, good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you for joining us, Paul. So, Paul, tell us a little bit about yourself. We have a packed full of subject to go over, but before we start, everybody, Paul is a true leader in what he does. And before I steal his thunder, I would love, Paul, for you to share who you are and what you do.
Absolutely. Great. Well, thanks for having me, and it's good to see you guys here on the live. So yeah, I'm CEO and founder of a company called HireCapital, and that's kind of a bit about me and what I do, but really it's more historical. Like, I started in the recruiting and staffing kind of industry as a recruiter and found out that I was kind of good at it, and started to build teams. I enjoyed leading them, and built two companies. One was acquired by KForce, another was acquired by a company called Addison Group. And over a 20-year period, I grew some pretty big organizations in human capital. My focus has always been providing great employment opportunities for the people on our team, and also great service to our clients. And along the way, we built amazing relationships with our candidates. So I left the business after that last sale and started to do quite a bit. I got involved in different industries and different companies as in strategic advisory roles, on board seats, and I created a fund. So I was investing in startups, emerging growth, and enterprise companies. And along came two of the strongest performers I'd ever had in my business, and said, why don't we kind of get the band back together and do it a different way? There's new dynamics in the labor market, new processes, new technology. This could be exciting. And that was an opportunity too good to refuse. So in April of 2021, in the midst of a lot of dynamic change in the employment market, we started HireCapital. HireCapital is the baseline of most of what I do, aside from my investment work. And we have a boutique organization that is growing rapidly and working very hard to build sort of the new way of doing this business, because whether it's the pandemic or technology or just the evolution of time, things are different than it used to be when you're looking to get a firm to help you hire, or a firm to help you supplement your staff. So that's
awesome. So Paul is a little modest, okay, which usually leaders are. So to the guys that are watching us, us entrepreneurs, we all want to grow companies, and a lot of us want to sell them. So Paul here has been in the game for a long time. He's had exits. He helped many companies, and he is one of the best people to share with us kind of this new landscape of how to bring in talent and how to grow. So we're truly excited that you're here with us, and we'd love to hear about how you help companies with HireCapital. So you started HireCapital with two partners, correct?
Correct. Yes.
And tell us a little bit how do you guys deal with the company? Who does what, and how do you lead this company so quickly forward?
Yeah, thank you. Well, I sit at the helm, but I consider my partners my peers in many ways. I work for them, they work for me as needed. My role really is marketing, financial, strategy, guidance and mentorship, training where possible. And their roles are running the day-to-day operation. This was the pact they brought to me as a covenant when they said, let's drag you back in this business and do it the right way this time again, So one of them is Alana. Alana is an incredible and fierce staffing consultant who leads a team. Her focus is technology roles. So everything from a, full stack developer to a chief information officer. We do full spectrum work at our shop. And then Jasmine is a veteran who knows exactly what she's doing in a number of areas, but her focus is a little different and wider in accounting, sales and marketing, and operational roles.
So basically, you guys at HireCapital can help almost any company grow with bringing in the right human capital, right? Which is the only way to grow, right, Paul?
Yeah, people is really what it's all about. I mean, technology's becoming more and more important, but still the leverage of, good leaders and good contributors is really what makes a difference for a company. One thing I'll just also add that, we do it a couple of different ways. And this is where, I always kind of follow the market, meaning the clients pull us in the direction. We try to be looking ahead. We watch them we see what they're doing, and that's how we pivot. So we do a variety of things. It's not just, sort of traditionally you think, I need an employee, right? I'm going to go to a firm and they're going to help me find it. Certainly we do that, but we do it, and we can get into methodology if necessary later, but we do it our way. And, I think we do it well. Our delivery is really great and all of that. But what we're also finding is people want to engage with employees differently. So for example, they may want to bring somebody in and say, you're a long-term employee. We want to, help you grow with the business and be here as long as possible. They also want to bring in maybe an individual. I need this resource to do this. Maybe it's AI, maybe it's accounting. I have something that needs to be done. I need this for 6 months. We do that. Then they say, we might want to bring a team. We've got a development project, maybe a new accounting package that we're going to put in. Bring them in for 4 months, 5 months, and we'll bring a team in. So there are others as well, but we are trying to leverage the fact that our strength is in knowing the market and knowing where the good people are, and providing for our clients whatever kind of method they want to hire. They want to bring them in, that's great. They want a contractor, that's great. They want project consulting work, that's fantastic. They want to help, they want to bring in a recruiter to help them internally. We can do that too. So what I found is that the best way to build this business and be different is to provide services that the client wants. And the client is always changing. So we're very dynamic and nimble, and it's not just, hey, here's our way and this is what we do. If you do something else, don't bother us. We really, if it's human capital related, we have access to so many different kinds of resources and types of talent that we feel confident we can participate and create a successful outcome.
I love that. And I love your name, HireCapital. Like, I think that name is so great because a lot of companies, hopefully not a lot, but some companies look at people, especially maybe entry-level skill, not the way they should. And I love how you look at humans. We don't grow companies, we grow people. Even in the age of AI, Daniel and I talk about AI all day long. It's all about humans. It's all about the human operator of the AI. It's not about the technology. Paul, I think we lost you there.
I just sounded myself go.
Hopefully you can get back on camera with us, Paul.
Yeah, I'll work on it.
But we'll give Paul a second. In the meantime, let's talk about what has transpired over the last few years. So we've had, COVID-19. So COVID-19 was basically something that changed the world for all of us. And from that point, basically, everything else has changed. And remote work, hybrid work, all these things that I myself struggle with till today. I'm an in-office person. Right. And I want everybody to be in office, which is not the reality anymore. Right. 90% of my team is all over the world. Very few people are right here in the office. And that, I know I had to really pivot in so many different ways. So can you tell us a little bit about COVID, remote work, hybrid, how that changed the entire market, in my opinion, almost completely?
Yeah, I think we can all recall being in the early months of 2020 and feeling like this was really going to be a game changer. And it felt pretty devastating, obviously, to see what was happening and to feel the effects. And, the human cost and human toll was amazingly bad. But what we also saw was a shift in the way people interacted. And it was I have to say, despite the negative elements of the pandemic, I was really impressed with how people, changed rapidly and adapted. It shows something about our ability to, go through these changes and come out on top. But what definitely changed was the view that, hey, you got to be in the office to be successful and productive. And I had that view too, right? Kind of old school. I loved having big teams and let's huddle up in the morning in person and we work all day. We see each other working. We learn from one another that way. And we can't wait, right? So during the pandemic, you got to go to work. And so the productivity that we saw, and I'm not just talking about my business, I mean across most businesses, not a manufacturing plant per se, right? But in the service industry and a lot of technology industry areas as examples, financial services, et cetera, companies were getting more productivity, I think, than they ever anticipated. And so that proved out something that taught me a lesson. Like, maybe you can teach an old dog new tricks, but it's pretty clear that we can find a way to make this work. And of course, Zoom came along, Teams, all the other, the WebEx, everything got better, and here we were working. So what we found is, as the pandemic eased, I don't know that anybody has fully declared that it's over, but COVID still exists, but it's, I think, much less of what it used to be. But we found a resistance to return to office that you're aware of. Everybody out there has seen this in their companies and companies they know of. And in that, what we've seen is people have found that not commuting, being productive in their homes or offices or WeWorks or wherever they want to go, it took a whole new approach. And so you've got hybrid, you've got fully remote, and then you have a few industries, financial services in some of the larger cities where you're still required to come in. But I think it's working really across a pretty broad spectrum. Obviously, there are exceptions. We've heard of instances where people are holding two jobs because nobody's looking over them and all, but I really think those are the outliers. So it's here to stay. I do think that some things will shift back to the office and some won't. And what those are, I couldn't say, but I do think moving forward, this reticence as a leader myself and others that I know to, you got to be in the office for this to work has abated, and it's a whole new dynamic. We also found, this is interesting, I think a lot of people will say, well, it's just the younger people that got used to it because, maybe they went into an office for a few years and then all of a sudden they found the freedom of being able to work from home and not the confinement to a car and all these things that you have to do to get to an office. But, a lot of the executives felt like they were more productive and their lives were improved. And maybe that's where I think hybrid kind of came from the execs who were like, I do see the value, but I must have people in the office. So, it's an interesting thing, and it's a shift that I don't think any of us would have experienced, perhaps, unless something kind of kicked us in the pants and made it happen.
I love that. So I'll share with you my personal story about, the first few months of 2020. So I was in DC in an office full of people. I would not hire anybody that could not come full-time to the office. I wouldn't consider hybrid. I would not even think about remote. Like, that was not in my lexicon. If you want to work with me, and people moved from New York, from LA to come to DC to work with us because you could not work with us without being full-time in the office. That was just not something that we would have accepted. Then, of course, COVID hit. We became non-essential immediately. So our revenue dropped 81% in Q2 of 2020, which for anybody that, that was one of the scariest moments in life. And that's actually started our relationship, or our enhanced relationship with LinkedIn as well. But what I'm trying to tell people is, we were shoved into a situation where everything was shifted. Now, as a company, Daniel, how many team members we have from different states, different countries, different continents, okay? Things that we were not open to before. And now I can tell you that my capital is better because I have people working for me from all over the world. I am not now just limiting people for a geographic place. If you can't come to the office, you cannot work with me. And that has changed. Now, I still like going to the office, and I still go to the office every day, but I completely understand that everybody is looking for hybrid. I hire a lot of people, Paul, and you help us as well, but everybody is looking for hybrid. I almost never find somebody that just wants to come to the office full time. You see that as well?
Yeah, me or Daniel?
Paul.
Oh, yeah, I see it. So that is an incredible point you made. And we were, in my prior two companies, we were so office centric that, of course, I always looked at labor pool for what I did, the recruiters, the account managers, the leaders. and infrastructure folks, and it all had to be local. And I remember turning people down because they lived 2 hours away or an hour and a half commute. And I was like, this is not good for you. Good night. And you're absolutely right. I've got employees in New York City. I've got employees in Miami. I've got employees in North Carolina, and we've got Minnesota. I mean, it's crazy. It has really opened up the labor pool. And in fact, for our clients who are hiring, many of them are very open. Sometimes there's they want to stay in the same time zone or maybe one over, but by and large, our clients are now all over, and the candidates that they're looking at are all over. So that really it's almost like an exponential increase in opportunity for a business. So,
The pool just grown a lot. Daniel, you work out of a cabin. Can you share with us kind of the difference between the world before and the world after, and how you feel people accept the fact that you and I work this closely together, yet I am right now in Sarasota, you're in a cabin somewhere very far away, yet we work so seamlessly together. Can you share the change that you felt?
Yeah, absolutely. So being a younger guy, right? I recall having to fly around for work, always being in the office. You had to be there. Even if you were sick, you showed up. Otherwise, you wouldn't look good, and you had to be dismissed home. And so like being in the office was what was equivalent to actually working. And that's the way everybody's minds were wired. But then you actually put into practice remote working, and what you find is not only that increased efficiency, but more satisfaction. You eliminate things like commuting. You eliminate all of that hassle. And something that I noticed that I'm sure you notice as well, Paul, is with these teams, these large in-person teams. Yes, it's fun to huddle in the morning, but a lot of time gets wasted in distractions and socializing, which is not a bug, but a feature of the in-person, in-office, work environment is that you're with people building community. But there's a level of efficiency to be gained from not having those distractions and being able to sit down in my cabin, in my office, isolated, and focus on production. And so again, not a bug, but a feature. And I think that's really been my experience, pre-COVID and now post working, remotely on a mountaintop. The difference that I've seen.
What mountaintop are you on? I mean, we all want to know where that log cabin is.
No, it's a secret fortress somewhere in Tennessee, just north of Chattanooga.
Okay, fair enough. Actually, let me throw a comment in about that. That was really a good observation, Daniel. And I think that was probably a part of where that productivity came from. That at the beginning, that inflection point where we saw, wait, hey, this might work. Their productivity measures were made during the last half of 2020, beginning of 21, and it was improved productivity in many cases. But I think, for my own situation that I just alluded to, where we have people in different spots, the community component, the culture it's still built, but it's built differently now. It's built on Teams, Zoom, and other platforms. And we have instituted fairly recently where I recognize, we get on these things and everybody is so, let's get it done, because we're very, focused, and we're hitting it hard, and we're working, and we're talking about work. So I said, we've got to introduce some elements of community, as you called it, I like that, or culture. And we start talking about some things like, I will intentionally divert from productivity. I know that sounds crazy as the leader, but we've got to recognize each other as people. One of the things that I'm really proud of about my businesses over decades is in my industry, I'm on the board of a group that is focused on industry. It's a staffing industry analyst, and they estimate in my industry that the turnover rate is close to 60%. I think it's 59%. Okay. Wow. Incredible. And that comes a lot from, it's a sales type of business. In many cases, they handle it transactionally. We don't. And you hire 3 to keep 1, that kind of thing. My turnover rate over multiple decades is 9% annually. And that, I think that's important. The reason I share it is not to boast, but rather just to share that people, you've got to be careful who you hire, but you also, once you get them, man, they're the most valuable thing you have, right? Losing somebody is, in rare cases, this might not be true, but almost always losing somebody is very harmful to the business. So anyway, culture and community is important, and we infuse it. It could be as simple as, what would you watch on Netflix recently, or tell me about your pet, and it just, you start to remember those things when you were in an office culture that you did share at the, quote unquote water cooler, or over a lunch. We do have lunch and learns, and we are asking people to bring a salad or a sandwich or something that we'll pay for, so little things like that. I think that's something as a, I don't know, lesson's not the right word, but just advice I would share with businesses is don't forget the importance of that, and infuse it while you're getting all this amazing increased productivity, hopefully.
This is something I personally struggled with when COVID started and everybody became remote. I used to hold 3 all company meetings every day, morning, lunch, and evening.
Right.
That was my control freak, I guess.
Yes, there you go.
I was so used to having somebody, and then I realized that, wow, I'm wasting a lot of time and having all these people together on Zoom. People are just waiting for it to be over. Another thing I noticed, though, Paul, is about 60% of the people actually showed increased productivity, but 40% of the people did not. They showed way less productivity. So we had to, to understand who can do this and who cannot. There were people that if I wasn't there in the office, they would just not produce as much. There was people that did the opposite. So we actually had to evaluate this, which brings me to another point that I would love to talk and ask you about. There's been a lot of layoffs lately.
Yes.
Okay? And there's been a lot of even senior people that have been laid off and now are looking for their new position. How has this changed how they look and find their new positions? Can you give some advice or share your knowledge about how that changes, this getting after you got laid off as a mid to senior leader, how do you now find the next position?
Yeah. Well, we could talk about this in a little bit too. I'd like to share some of my thoughts on it, but this view or this picture that has been painted of what a great job market we have, and the labor market is softening, and it's softening in areas that I think are pretty vital. And we can talk about that in a moment, but it is impacting, as you say, whether layoffs or just individual reductions. And you have these professionals who, or anybody who's looking for a job. And the number one thing right now is that there's a lot of noise, in the employment marketplace. And what I mean by that is every job that's posted is getting inundated. Any job that people are aware of, getting inundated with candidates. And, everybody thinks they're qualified for anything now. So, and that's just not the case. So what I recommend is, of course, you do have to stay involved in that game. And what I mean by that is you have to, unfortunately, kind of using LinkedIn, using Indeed, whatever tools are out there, you've got to apply for jobs. But what I'm seeing anecdotally, at least with, hundreds of candidates we deal with every month, is that most of them are not finding their jobs that way. And it's a sad state of affairs because you have a lot of people anticipating this is how they're going to fill their roles. And instead, the number one way is through their network. And a lot of people think, well, I've never really worked my network for that. I mean, if somebody told me about a job, of course, maybe I would, apply to it or get referred. But now you've got to be very proactive as the applicant to go into your network, however you manage it. Some people it's LinkedIn, I think most it is. Some people it's their texts, their emails, their friends, their family, whatever their kind of expanded community is in the professional ranks, that's where you have to go. I really admire, I can think of a few people who have done this, even to me, the people who will call me on the phone, a lost art form, and say, hey, I just wanted to check in with you, let you know about my situation, and just if there's anything you can do, I'd appreciate it. And what can I do for you? And some maybe that were a little more aggressive, can I buy you a coffee or a lunch? And there's still in-person things that can happen. I guess my point is the network is the most robust thing you have. It's the people you know. And every time I go, well, I tell this to many people, some of them are younger, and they go, I don't know that many people. I said, what, you know people in your family, you have at least one friend, hopefully. I'll be your friend if not. You and they, guess what? Each of them know people, and each of those people know people. And that's how you have to look at it. And you have to be able to confidently and politely ask. And so this is my recommendation. You work your network, family, friends, professional associates, LinkedIn, in whatever your platforms are. And then also ask. Let people know this is a situation I'm going through. I want to be productive and add value, and I hope you can help me find my way there. And so that's number one, definitely very productive. LinkedIn there's another thing is LinkedIn can be used, and I think it most often is, that they go to the job postings. Again, I appreciate that, and you need to do it, okay? But I'd rather go in and look at the people who I've connected with, or the people that I am connected with and who they're connected with, and see if there's either industry, functional discipline, school, maybe I went to the same university, or some layer of connection that allows me to reach out to them as something other than, hey, we do this and you may be interested. It's not another sales kind of in mail. It's some personalized approach about some connection you have. Your dad and I are close friends, and I saw that you are in the same industry as I am, and I was wondering if I could give you a call or something.
I love that. That is amazing piece of advice. And let me share something that is actually happened today. So we hired a new incredible lady today. Elise, we're so excited to have you on.
Great.
And the way she came on was one of my top partners, my partner in Viacry, the person that owns half of the other company that I have. We talk all the time, and I told him I'm really looking for somebody. I explained who that person is, and he called me 2 weeks ago. He's like, "You're still looking for that? I have somebody for you." And it was so amazing. And the fact that she came from somebody that we have such appreciation and even love makes her a lot more loyal, a lot more caring from day one. It's like when we get referrals, right? When we get referrals, we close the business much faster. It's much easier. It's the exact same way. It's a transference of trust. So Josh and I have been working together. We've done amazing things. When Josh speaks about me, hopefully, I'm pretty sure, he speaks really highly, right? He's like, wow, Zeev is this and this and that. So the lady that now is working for me have heard that. So she's already trusting in the process and what I do. And what you said now is brilliant. And I know you and I even almost hired somebody together.
Right.
We never ended up doing it, but we were both looking at some interns, and the intern wanted some more hours. And you and I almost said, oh, well, why don't we just, share the same person?
Yeah.
So brilliant. Pick up the phone. It's not a lost art. Reach out to people. Tell them and try to create win-wins. And Paul, that's something I love that you do. You create win-wins. You help so many other people grow, and association is key. Even you and I got to know each other through a joint friend that is an amazing guy. Shout out to Stephen Gaffney.
Yes.
But associations are key. And if you trust somebody, the chances to get something out of that person are so much higher. So I love what you just said. I did not think about it before, but I think it was brilliant. So thank you. Daniel, anything you want
to I got lucky.
Well, and I really love that point. Like the network is that is your biggest asset, right? Is the people in your life. But kind of piggybacking on that, something I've really been wanting to ask you, Paul, that I get asked all the time, being big into AI and everything, as we've transitioned from the shift in the labor market from COVID and remote working, and now we're at the edge, if not already plunging into another transformation here, and that is through the use of AI. Right. And here at our company, we onboard AI just like a new employee in the way that we train it and credential it and everything. Yeah. But I get people that ask me all the time, like, Daniel, am I going to lose my job from AI? Or they just flat out, say it, Daniel, AI is horrible. It's going to cause people to lose their jobs. And I find the truth is in the middle and sometimes can't articulate it as well as I'd like. So Paul, I'd love to hear your answer.
I'll come up to bat and see what I can do here. Because it's a big topic, and you guys are amazing at it, really. I've been very impressed, and I've learned a lot too. So thank you for that. As far as what I see, I really categorize AI in phases, and if we can all recognize academically and in other writings and such, it's been around forever, right? We've been talking AI for decades, but a real inflection point and transformation occurred here recently. And I think it was just the availability or modernization of ChatGPT, for example, and other things that brought it to attention, and then the capabilities of the NVIDIA chip and other things. Okay, so this phase that we're in now, I think, is the first phase, which is sort of the discovery and the implementation in the data centers, the technology acquisition, and people sort of figuring out what it is and learning. And I think it's a great phase. It's kind of fun. It's sort of like when the internet came around. And so I believe people are learning, and I believe people are figuring things out, and companies are investing, as you know, rapidly and aggressively in being ready and putting AI into place. That is taking a lot of technology, but also a lot of brain power and a lot of people to figure it out. That's the first phase. And we're in it. And I think we're probably in that, I don't know, Zeev, you might have a view on this. I'm thinking certainly through next year, something like that. Somewhere in that time frame, maybe next year, the year after, I think kind of late 25, early 26, the second phase. And the second phase is really more deployment. Even though it's being rapidly deployed in many ways, it's a little clunky and clumsy and just not quite there yet. And I think we're going to figure that out. And I do think that in many ways, that phase is going to start to have an impact in the employment marketplace. And here's a few examples, because I certainly can't predict the future as well as I'd like to, but I think, for example, in manufacturing, right, more and more of those jobs will go to maybe robots, AI, just as it kind of is happening now, but I think it'll accelerate. And then I do think that there are certain service roles, and maybe they're the least desirable. You go into a fast food place, right, and maybe there are fewer people like sitting there taking orders all day, and there's a big board and you push, your McFlurry. Shout out to McDonald's, but yeah.
And the machine's not broken. You might get one.
Yeah, to be honest with you, this is funny because I do happen to enjoy a McFlurry every once in a while, but I don't like the boards. I just want to go say, give me my McFlurry. So they still have those occasionally, and when they don't, I'm like grumbly old man, like, oh, I gotta go to the board with the buttons. But no, I'm trying to be a little simplistic to make my point that there are roles that are currently human capital intensive that are going to switch to AI. Already happening, but I do think that 2025, late, maybe early 2026, we're going to see it accelerate. And that sounds very, daunting maybe for the employment landscape, but I don't think it is. Because I think, it allows a shift, to higher performing jobs, places where humans really can make a difference. Instead of just really, a lot of those jobs, they're like machines. Nobody wants to do that. Think of how many unhappy people you see doing routine jobs right now. So maybe we can help them out and elevate. And just like AI is sophisticated, and technology is enabling, we'll see people kind of elevate their skills. And I think people are still at the heart of what gets done. And how that shift pans out in terms of total opportunity, I don't know. But we do have an aging demographic. We have lower fertility rates. We have lower birth rates. We do need to find ways to take these very less charming and unwanted jobs and get them away from people, so that as the labor supply is somewhat constricted over time, that we can give those jobs, better jobs to people. Anyway, this is sort of how I see AI playing out as it affects the labor market.
I love that.
I love that added context there, and breaking it out into phases, which I wouldn't be bold enough to make a guess. I think you have a lot better understanding of how that's going to all play out. And now that you say it, it makes so much sense. I love that, Paul.
Just as long as the AIs don't replace marketing firms or recruiting firms, we'll be okay.
Right. But this is the thing. There's an evolution, but I believe if you know how to use AI, you're just a lot more capable. So
Absolutely.
don't be afraid. Use AI, use the advantages of it. Now, I agree with you. There are certain jobs that eventually AI is just going to take, but I don't think those are jobs that are really jobs that we need to do.
Right.
We all can do more things. We can use our mind. We can use AI to create more things. So yeah, there are already fast food chains that are 100% AI operational. So it's existing in California as we speak.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people thought that driving jobs will be replaced first. But it's been very different. It's gonna happen. We just need a lot better accuracy and the visualization of AI, and all of that is gonna happen.
That's
But
right.
we're drawing to an end, and this is fascinating, Paul. But what I wanted to ask you is something I believe certain skills are more important right now. Okay.
Mhm.
And I would love to see what you think about it. Like when I look right now at the landscape, if back in the day coding was something that, oh, I need somebody to be an amazing coder, right now, yeah, but I have AIs that code really, really well, especially if I have one good coder, I can have AI make 10x. But emotional intelligence, can you share a little bit where you think talents are going for people that want to get those really great lucrative jobs?
Yeah, I think that this is a important day-to-day conversation piece in our discussions with clients and with our candidates. And we have to take for granted, right? So the premise of this dialogue is, of course, you have to have the skills that are being required. So let's say it's a senior accountant, you maybe a CPA, right? So you have the CPA, you've worked either public or private accounting in work. So you have the skills, right? Same in technology, same in marketing. So let's take that for granted and go to what's really making a difference. And what I'm seeing, people getting hired where others are not. And this is going to sound really simple, but it's really coming down to communication skills. The ability to speak, to write, to paint a picture, tell a story is really, really important right now. And it's been underappreciated, I believe. I don't know if it's in academia or what, but I see the shift now. The recognition is starting to come to the business schools, to the arts and sciences programs. Communication is the difference maker. Two equal candidates, maybe I'll even say one slightly lesser qualified candidate, and a better qualified candidate would lose out if communication skills were better. It's that critical right now.
I completely agree. And I think emotional intelligence is going on levels that it's never been before. It was always important, but we always measured other things first.
Right.
And then we figured out the emotional intelligence as, they grow into our business. But I think now, and I would love for you to speak on that, emotional intelligence is what I'm looking for in people. And also, I want people that don't hate AI. It's crucial for me that I hire people that are not scared and they don't hate AI. They understand AI is a tool that they need to use in order to grow.
Yeah, emotional intelligence is vital. And I think that one of the challenges that we have seen is, I think whether it's categorized as EI or not, it is important in the success of the employee. So we have seen a few, unfortunately, I think too few of our clients start to try and find ways to measure it in advance of creating an offer. And but that is a shift that's occurring, and there's some testing that can be done. A lot of it is, we have a few clients who are really good at it, I would say, and unfortunately for them, and anybody else trying to get on that bus, it takes more time. It's not like it's a long protracted hiring cycle, but it just means it may not be a couple of half-hour interviews. It might be, we need you for half a day and we're going to cycle you through some people. We're going to do some behavioral questioning and we're going to just talk about experiences you've had and we're going to see how you react and what you do. not to test them in a way that is artificial, but really to get to the substance of how they handle circumstances and how their method of thinking. I think that's really important, and we're seeing more and more of it.
I'll share with you what I do, and I would love to hear your thoughts about it, and then we'll give you some closing points because we're about to run out of time. I like to take my candidates out for coffee.
Yes.
I like to take my candidates out for lunch. Now, what I see, so this is a pet peeve of mine. I hope I don't hurt anybody's feelings. If I bring you to a job interview and then we're going for coffee, then I ask you what do you want, and you spend 5 minutes thinking, you're not going to get my job, ever. Like, that to me means you're undecisive. You don't care about wasting other people's time, the barista, the people behind you, mine. It tells me so many things.
Right.
Okay, in a restaurant, I love to see how my candidates treat the busboy and
Yes.
the waitress.
Yes.
And if there's a difference in how to use, because usually when I go to restaurants, the people know me, so the general manager or the owner comes by and says hi. I always see if they treat the busboy and the waitress differently than they treat the owner. That to me is a big warning sign. So those are two things that I do, and maybe somebody can take that. I would love to hear what you think about that, and then we'll kind of move to closing remarks.
Yeah, I love that idea, and I think when I sort of referred to some of the people who've approached me and made the phone call and then offered the coffee themselves, I kind of recognized over the last year as we sort of went fully remote, partially remote, now we're interacting in the world again. And it was very interesting to see. So we might have somebody, I'll give you one example. We had a candidate, we really liked this candidate, and we were going to recommend them for a very high level job, very important client. And it was a C-level job at a growing company. I was really excited. Everything was going well. And I met them for lunch. And there was a disposition, not so much to the service staff, which I think I agree with you 100%, very important, but really to me, very assumptive, like I've got this in the bag. The confidence is good, but the ego was overwhelming relative to everything we had seen. And it didn't sit well with me. In fact, I scheduled a follow-up, which was remote because they flew in for this. And I wound up pulling the candidate from the client. I shared this with them and they trusted our judgment. We wound up getting a much superior candidate, just as luck would have it, and I guess our abilities. But, I really think different ways of evaluating are important. Now, not everybody can get together in person necessarily to make a hire. Maybe for a high level, C-level hire that happens, but not all the time, right? And so I think different methods and ways of kind of asking the right questions to get to that point, to see how they react and where they're, everybody's on their best behavior, right? Zeev, in the beginning. And then, as you dig and you get a little closer, some of the real them comes out. Maybe for me, it's like my stupid dad jokes and humor, but for others, it might be something offensive or something that isn't going to work. It might even be that it would work elsewhere, but not in the culture of the environment where they're going. So absolutely important. And I think, we should strive to kind of evaluate that.
Love that. So Paul, thank you. We're honored that you came and shared all this insight. Guys,
Pleasure.
Paul is a true professional. I would call him an OG entrepreneur. He's been through,
I want that.
he's been through things. He's been through exits. He saw industries changed, and yet you keep on adapting, which to me is what we all need to do. So you're an example in my life, and we look up to you. And when we have questions, we go to you. Can you share with the audience how do people reach out to you? Which companies should reach out to you, and how will you help them grow?
Yeah, sure. Of course. First of all, thank you for saying all that. Check is in the mail. No, this has been a pleasure. I enjoy talking about these things, and I hope that we're able to reach some people and get some good results for them. As far as the business is concerned, what we focus on are these functional disciplines. Okay, technology, accounting and finance, sales and marketing, and operations. Now that sounds like everything. It isn't. There's some areas we're not involved in, but we have practice areas that have years and years of experience in those areas. So they know the companies, they know the candidates, they understand the culture, they understand what's important to be a difference maker in a company. And that's really what we're going for. So if you're a candidate with those skills, you should come to us. And the best way to reach out candidly is on the website. And there's you can fill out a contact form, and one of our associates will be in touch with you. And then also, we are, really always, indebted and grateful for our clients. And if you're hiring and you want sort of a new approach where we're not going to waste your time, we're going to say no to most people that we interview for your role, because we're going to find the yes, and then, reach out to us for contract, project staff, or direct hire.
That's great. So our community, if you need technology, operations, sales and marketing, and what's the last thing I missed?
Accounting and finance, I think.
Accounting and finance, please reach out to Paul. Paul is on LinkedIn. So is your partners, Alana and Jasmine. Do you mind just saying their full names?
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's Alana Hyman, Hyman, and she has a very robust background in technology, and she's amazing. And then Jasmine is Jasmine, Jasmin, no E, and then Moser, Moser. And her background is extensive in all those other areas that we mentioned, accounting and operations, sales, and marketing.
Amazing team. Everybody reach out to Paul, HireCapital.com. Paul and Jasmine and Alana are there to help you, and they're some of the best in the business. So if you really want to get that human capital, I would highly suggest to go to Paul, HireCapital, Alana, and Jasmine. Daniel, thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to allow you to kind of close us off with some closing statement. Paul, you're a gem, a pleasure, and we love this. Thank you, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely great talking with you, Paul. I love the insights you provided. At some point, you're going to have to share some of your favorite dad jokes with me. I absolutely love those. The cheesier, the better. But absolute pleasure. Love being here with all of you in the audience. We're the least shy people you'll ever meet. And so at least I can speak for Zeev and myself. Feel free, if there is, Paul mentioned the network is important. If there's anyone in our networks that you want to meet, or if you want to reach out to me directly, if there's anything that we can do to provide value, don't hesitate. We're not shy, and we don't bite.
Sounds good. Everybody on LinkedIn, thank you. Paul, thank you. Daniel,
thank you,
thank you. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.